Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. Welcome all.
Welcome. एरने और कोराने मैडम एक ही है क्या?
Welcome, Dr. Sushma Satpute.
Yes. Namaskar.
Namaste.
So I'll join through laptop also. Huh?
Yes, please.
Please.
Yes.
Allow me to.
अच्छा, बैकग्राउंड बहुत अच्छा है.
हेलो एवरीवन. संगीता मैडम नहीं दिख रहे. हेलो.
कॉल किया है उनको मैंने. Let's see.
मैडम को वीडियो शुरू रखने बताया क्या?
कौन से मैडम को? मुझे?
साधना स्वप्ना मैडम.
अरे नहीं.
मैडम मैंने मैसेज किया है आपको.
अच्छा, मैंने देखा नहीं.
नहीं, स्क्रीनशॉट्स लेने हैं अपने. आज 26 जनवरी.
It's almost 3:40.
Pratna madam, please make me host for another device also. Please make me host for another device which is
Yes.
named as Dr.
Yes,
Sushma.
yes, just wait.
Yeah, okay. Co-host, otherwise you can let me host.
मुझे भी होस्ट करना पड़ेगा ना, होस्ट. ये मोबाइल देना.
रत्ने मैडम. रत्ने मैडम. संगीता मैडम, तुम्ही अनम्यूट करा.
संगीता मॅडम फोन उचलत नाहीत मॅडम.
ऑलरेडी बराच लेट झाला ना, त्याने 3:45 ला 2:45 ला जॉईन व्हायला पाहिजे होते.
हो हो.
हा आता जॉईन झाले मॅडम. संगीता मॅडम अनम्यूट करा स्वतःला आणि सुरू करून घ्या. ऑलरेडी लेट आहोत आपण.
Please make me co-host.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Namaskar.
There are two devices through which I
Mom, well,
logged in. Actually, please make me co-host for those two devices, madam, please.
Yes, yes, just wait.
हेलो
Yes, sir.
प्रज्ञा मैडम होस्ट है.
Yes, yes, yes.
मैडम मेरे को को होस्ट बना दो और बाकी को
Yes.
फिर आपको को होस्ट बना के म्यूट करा दो सबको.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
बैकग्राउंड साउंड है, किसी को बैकग्राउंड चलेगा.
करायचे सुरू मग.
येस संगीता मॅम.
Co-host for another device, ma'am, please.
Yes, 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 please wait.
संगीता मॅम तुम्ही चालू करून घ्या, तोपर्यंत प्रज्ञा कोसे मॅम टेक्निकल इश्यू आहे तो क्लिअर करतील.
Namaskar. Warm welcome and wish you all a very happy Republic Day. Myself, Dr. Sangeeta Vindodia, President, NIMA Women's Forum today. Welcome you all in this webinar on a unique topic, laws to women's rights, which is organized by NIMA Women's Forum, Maharashtra State Branch. दोस्तों,
तर मग ते लिव्ह नाही करतायत, लिव्ह करायचं आहे तर ते सोडायची मीटिंग ते जमून नाही राहिलं मला.
should I continue?
Yes, yes, please, please, ma'am.
नीमा, दोस्तों आप जानते ही हैं, नीमा यानी नेशनल इंटीग्रेटेड मेडिकल एसोसिएशन, यह इंडियन सिस्टम ऑफ मेडिसिन के पदाधिकारियों के लिए सबसे बड़ी राष्ट्रीय संगठन है, जो कि ISM डॉक्टर्स उनकी हक और सम्मान दिलाने के लिए पिछले 75 सालों से कार्य करते आ रहे हैं. अधिकाधिक सहभाग हो, महिलाएं अधिकाधिक संख्या में सक्रिय रहे, उनके नेतृत्व गुण, संगठन कौशल्य, व्यवस्थापन क्षमता आदि गुण उभर के आए, उन्हें अच्छा सा व्यासपीठ मिले, इस उद्देश्य से सन 2005 में निमा विमेन्स फोरम की स्थापना हुई. सम्माननीय डॉक्टर साधना कुलकर्णी मैडम, इनकी प्रेरणा और अथक प्रयास से लगाया गया ये छोटा सा पौधा आज धीरे धीरे एक वृक्ष में रूपांतरित हो रहा है. भारत में इस महिला संगठन की लोकल या डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे 91 शाखाएं हैं. स्टेट लेवल की 4 शाखाएं हैं और सेंट्रल शाखा जो है वो हमें मार्गदर्शन करती है. स्टेट लेवल की जो 4 शाखा है उसमें निमा विमेन्स फोरम महाराष्ट्र बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण शाखा है. संगठन को अधिक सक्षम बनाना, संगठन के नियमों का पालन करते हुए उस उद्दिष्ट जो है अधिक साध्य करना, इसलिए इस कारण यह शाखा हमेशा प्रयत्नशील रही है. हमारी यह शाखा सांस्कृतिक, सामाजिक, क्रीड़ा, शैक्षणिक अधिक सभी क्षेत्रों में उल्लेखनीय कार्य कर रही है। शिक्षण क्षेत्र में तो वेबिनार जो है, वेबिनार के माध्यम से लगातार शिक्षण या ज्ञान दिया जा रहा है। 15 अगस्त 2021 में वेबिनार की श्रृंखला शुरू की, जिसके माध्यम से आज तक 17 ऑनलाइन लेक्चर्स जैसे गर्भ संस्कार, पीसीओडी आदि महत्वपूर्ण विषयों पे ऑनलाइन लेक्चर्स हुए। और यह बहुत कहने में खुशी होती है कि ये वेबिनार्स बहुत सक्सेसफुल भी हुए। इसके अलावा सांस्कृतिक क्षेत्र में भी महिला सदस्यों के लिए हमने नवंबर में एक सिंगिंग कंपटीशन रखी थी। कोविड पीरियड में जो हमें स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन आ रहा है, उससे बाहर निकलने के लिए एक बहुत ही अच्छा कदम था। इसको हमें अच्छा प्रतिसाद मिला। 50 के ऊपर कंटेस्टेंट ने पार्ट लिया। उसमें से हमने 15 चुन के उनको ऑनलाइन उनका प्रोग्राम लिया और 3 विनर को प्राइज दिया। कहने में बहुत गर्व होता है कि क्रीड़ा क्षेत्र में भी हम बहुत अग्रसर है। नवंबर में ही सोलापुर में महिला संगठन की, महाराष्ट्र की जो भी महिला निमा वुमेन्स फोरम की शाखा है, उनमें एक प्रतियोगिता, क्रिकेट की प्रतियोगिता रखी गई और 2 दिन का ये प्रतियोगिता, इसमें कई मैचेस होके उसको बहुत अच्छी से महिलाओं ने प्रतिसाद दिया और कई सारी ट्रॉफियां महाराष्ट्र के हर कोने से आए हुए सदस्य ने जीती। ऐसे ही सामाजिक क्षेत्र में भी हम काम करते रहते हैं, जो कि कोकण में आए बाढ़ में निमा महाराष्ट्र के साथ निमा वुमेन्स फोरम महाराष्ट्र ने भी भरघोस सहायता की। इसी प्रकार का कार्य करते हुए हमने आज के इस वेबिनार का आयोजन किया है, जो कि आज का विषय है लॉस फॉर वुमेन्स राइट।
संगीता मैडम, you are muted. Please unmute yourself. Yes, carry on.
हमने आज ये इस विषय व्याख्यान देने के लिए जानी मानी एडवोकेट डॉक्टर सुषमा सातपुते यहाँ पे आई हुई हैं। मैं उनका हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ। अभी हमारे सत्र की ओर हम चलते हैं और इसमें सबसे पहले हम शुरुआत हमारे वैदिक शास्त्र के देवता धन्वंतरि का पूजन और उनका स्तवन करते हुए करेंगे।
आवाज क्यों नहीं आ रहा? हाँ वो डालो मैसेज डालूं क्या? चैट डालो डालूं। आवाज येत नाहीये मॅडम अनम्यूट चॅट म्हणून ना
झालो ना डायरेक्ट फोन करू ना.
धन्वंतरी स्तवांचा आवाज येत नाही ना?
नाही येत.
म्यूट म्यूट करू करतो.
हो 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 हो.
टेक्निकल टीम प्लीज अनम्यूट करून घ्या.
मैडम स्टार्टिंग से करते
अनम्यूट करू.
हाँ मैम आपको ही होना पड़ेगा।
मैडम अनम्यूट करो मुझे
हाँ, आपको ही होना पड़ेगा। आपको ही unmute करना
आपको मैं तो अनम्यूट ही हूँ मैडम
है। नहीं दोनों भी वॉइस को अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा। आप एक ही वॉइस को बोलेंगे।
रानी मैम आपकी आवाज आ रही, स्तवन की आवाज नहीं आ रही थी.
अनम्यूट करो बोलते मैडम देखो इनकी आवाज तो चल जा रही
एक मिनिट के लिए होस्ट करू बोलना था.
मैडम होस्ट करना पड़ेगा नहीं हो रहा है वो फिर मैं आपको होस्ट कर दूंगी ना अनम्यूट है
आरती मैडम उसका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है. संगीता मैडम यू कैन कंटिन्यू एज एंकर. धन्वंतरी सर नहीं बज रहे मैम. संगीता मैडम
कुणाला वर्बली येत असेल तर म्हणू शकतात अध्यक्ष महाराज.
नाही सर आता आमचं चांगलं आहे पण बहुतेक ते त्याचा आवाज येत नाहीये तर बेटर ठीक आहे संगीता मॅडम तुम्ही
प्रत्येक आवाजात आलं पाहिजे. धन्यवाद.
किसको आ रहा है क्या ऑफिस बेरर्स में किसी को आ रहा है धन्वंतरी स्तवन तो बोल सकते हैं.
ठीक आहे अगदीच नसेल तर 2 मिनिटं.
राजश्री मॅम म्हणताय
मोबाईल वरनं प्ले करू शकता मॅम.
हॅलो, हा मॅडम. हॅलो
हा सर.
मॅडम, डॉक्टर दाप होते म्हणते. अपर्णा बोलते धन्वंतरी.
बोलू द्या सर, बोलू द्या सर, द्या प्लीज. थँक्यू.
ओम धन्वन्तरये नमः. ओम धन्वन्तरये नमः. ओम धन्वन्तरये नमः. नमामि धन्वन्तरिमादिदेवम् सुरासुरैर्वन्दितपादपद्मम्. लोके जरारुभयमृत्युनाशिनम् दातारमीशं विविधौषधीनाम्. अमृतार्थी देवदैत्ये केले उदधि मंथन. त्यातुनी जो अरियाला विश्वाच्या स्वास्थ्य रक्षणा. श्री विष्णु सांश प्रत्यक्ष असा धन्वन्तरी प्रभु. करो कल्याण विश्वाचे सुधा कलशधारी हा. विख्यात कीर्ति भगवान स्वयमेव नामे. धन्वन्तरी करिदुरी विपदा जगाची. संपादिला निज बळेची अविर्विभाग. आयुष्य वेद जनका अमुचे प्रणाम. अमुचे प्रणाम. अमुचे प्रणाम.
ऑडिओ
संगीता मॅडम, एका डिव्हाइस मधनं लेफ्ट व्हा तुम्ही प्लीज. आवाज येतोय. एका लेफ्ट मधनं डिव्हाइस व्हा. लेफ्ट व्हा. एका डिव्हाइस मधनं लेफ्ट व्हा मॅम.
हो मॅम.
ठीक है.
चलो अब इस सेशन को आगे बढ़ाते हैं हम. इस धन्वंतरी स्तवन से प्रसन्न मंगलमय वातावरण में नीमा वुमेन्स फोरम महाराष्ट्र की ओर से मैं आप सभी का शब्द सुनने से हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ. मैं सबसे पहले स्वागत करती हूँ माननीय डॉक्टर विनायक जी टेम्बुर्णीकर सर, जो हमारे नीमा सेंट्रल काउंसिल के अध्यक्ष हैं और हमारे हमेशा ही मार्गदर्शक रहेंगे. मैं स्वागत करती हूँ नीमा सेंट्रल काउंसिल के कोषाध्यक्ष माननीय डॉक्टर आशुतोष जी कुलकर्णी सर, जो हमारे एक अच्छे मार्गदर्शक भी हैं. हमारी नीमा वुमेन्स फोरम की नींव नीमा वुमेन्स फोरम सेंट्रल काउंसिल की अध्यक्ष माननीय डॉक्टर साधना कुलकर्णी मैडम, इनका मैं हार्दिक हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ. नीमा वुमेन्स फोरम सेंट्रल की उपाध्यक्ष डॉक्टर वैशाली पड़गन मैम, इनका भी मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ. नीमा वुमेन्स फोरम सेंट्रल की सेक्रेटरी डॉक्टर मृण्मयी मासोदकर मैम, इनका भी मैं स्वागत करती हूँ. इसके बाद मैं स्वागत करना चाहती हूँ नीमा महाराष्ट्र स्टेट ब्रांच के अध्यक्ष माननीय डॉक्टर सुहास जाधव सर, नीमा महाराष्ट्र ब्रांच के सेक्रेटरी माननीय डॉक्टर अनिल बाजारे सर, निमा महाराष्ट्र के कोषाध्यक्ष माननीय डॉक्टर भूषण वाणी सर एवं निमा महाराष्ट्र के कोऑर्डिनेटर माननीय डॉक्टर राजेश दहापुते सर, आप सभी निमा विमेन्स फोरम महाराष्ट्र को हमेशा प्रोत्साहन एवं सहयोग देते आए हैं। मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करना चाहती हूँ MCI मेंबर एवं टीचर्स एसोसिएशन निमा सेंट्रल के कन्वीनर माननीय डॉक्टर विष्णु बावने सर, जिनका सहयोग और मार्गदर्शन हमेशा बना रहता है। लीगल सेल निमा के डॉक्टर खटावकर सर और माननीय डॉक्टर कोथळे सर, इनका भी मैं यहाँ पर स्वागत करती हूँ। इसके अलावा निमा महाराष्ट्र स्टेट ब्रांच के सभी मान्यवरों का मैं स्वागत करती हूँ। वैसे ही निमा विमेन्स फोरम महाराष्ट्र और वेबिनार टीम निमा विमेन्स फोरम महाराष्ट्र के सभी पदाधिकारी, कार्यकारिणी सदस्य एवं सभी सदस्यों का मैं स्वागत करती हूँ। अंत में जिनकी उपस्थिति इस वेबिनार के लिए अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण है, ऐसे आप सभी उपस्थित डेलीगेट्स का मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ। अब इसके बाद हम अपने व्याख्यान की तरफ चलते हैं। जो हमारा विषय है, आज का टॉपिक जो है हमारा लॉज फॉर वुमेन्स राइट। तो इस विषय में हमें अवगत करने के लिए यहाँ पे जानी मानी एडवोकेट डॉक्टर सुषमा सातपुते यहाँ पे उपस्थित है। उनको मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ और उनका निमा विमेन्स फोरम की तरफ से हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ। यह मेरा सौभाग्य है कि ऐसे जानी मानी हस्ती का परिचय देने का अवसर मुझे प्राप्त हुआ है। आपका पूरा नाम एडवोकेट डॉक्टर सुषमा सचिन सातपुते हैं। दोस्तों, अभी तक हमने जो वेबिनार लिए हैं वो सभी वैद्यकीय क्षेत्र के थे और सभी जो तज्ञ मार्गदर्शक थे वो डॉक्टर थे। आज का विषय लॉ कानून के आधार पर है, और लेकिन फिर भी हमें हमारे स्पीकर जो हैं वो डॉक्टर स्पीकर प्राप्त हुए हैं। हालांकि उन्होंने वो मेडिकल क्षेत्र से नहीं है, लेकिन उन्होंने PhD की हुई है और इसलिए वो हम गर्व से डॉक्टर कह के सम्मानित करते हैं। इनका जो एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन है वो है BSc, LLB, LLM, PhD इन लॉ। इनका शालेय शिक्षण से लेके पूरी शिक्षा मुंबई में ही हुई है। इनका वर्किंग एक्सपीरियंस भी काफी है। ये वर्किंग एज कोऑर्डिनेटर एंड असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर आनंद विश्व गुरुकुल कॉलेज ऑफ लॉ में ये काम कर रही हैं एज अ कोऑर्डिनेटर एंड असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर। इसके अलावा इनकी खुद की ओन लॉ की फर्म है। इनके हस्बैंड भी वकील है। इतना ही नहीं कि उन्होंने गर्व से कहा कि इनके ससुर जो हैं वो भी माननीय एडवोकेट शिवाजीराव सातपुते, वो मुंबई ठाणे के जाने माने वकील हैं और 1978 से उनकी ये फर्म चालू है। तो ऐसे एक बहुत इसी फील्ड के घराने में इनका संपर्क हुआ है और वो इसी क्षेत्र में वो अपना अच्छे से योगदान दे रही हैं। अपने प्राइवेट फर्म सातपुते एंड कंपनी एडवोकेट, सॉलिसिटर एंड नोटरी मुंबई फोर्ट में इनका है। इसके अलावा ये बहुत ही एक अच्छे पोस्ट पे अपॉइंटेड है, अपॉइंटेड एज एन एक्सटर्नल मेंबर in internal complaint committee form for POSH यानी प्रिवेंशन ऑफ सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट। इस कंपनी में ये अपॉइंटमेंट है एट वर्क प्लेस बाय बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा फाइनेंशियल लिमिटेड मुंबई। इसके अलावा ये एक्टिंग एज अ प्रोफेसर इन चार्ज ऑफ वुमेन डेवलपमेंट सेल इन आनंद विश्व गुरुकुल कॉलेज ऑफ लॉ ठाणे। आपने आपके ज्ञान पर आधारित कई सारे लॉ के लेक्चर्स दिए हैं। उनमें से समय के अभाव में मैं गिने चुने कुछ आपके सामने बताती हूँ कि इनको रिसर्च स्पीकर करके महाराष्ट्र नेशनल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटी में रिसर्च स्पीकर करके आमंत्रित किया था और वहां पे उन्होंने इंडियन सक्सेशन एक्ट पे व्याख्यान दिया था। इसके अलावा अखिल भारतीय विद्यापीठ परिषद ठाणे, यहाँ पे भी इनका करियर इन लॉ इस विषय पर व्याख्यान हुआ था। कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट इस विषय पर इन्हें महात्मा गांधी मिशन लॉ कॉलेज नेहरू में गेस्ट स्पीकर करके बुलाया गया था। रिसोर्स डिस्ट्रिक्ट लीगल एड सर्विस ठाणे, यानी ठाणे सेंट्रल जेल में इन्होंने ह्यूमन राइट्स फॉर प्रिजनर्स इस विषय पे भी व्याख्यान दिया था। ऐसे जाने माने कायदा क्षेत्र के तज्ञ आज हमें प्राप्त हुए हैं। मैं मैडम से अनुरोध करती हूँ वे अपना व्याख्यान शुरू करें।
A very good afternoon to all of you. Thanks to Dr. Sangeeta Gindodia, Madam, for kind introduction of me. I would like to extend my gratitude towards National Integrated Medical Association's Women's Forum's team. Dr. Swapna Jagdale, President of Maharashtra State. Dr. Rajashri Shirpurkar, Madam, Secretary of Women's Forum NIMA. Dr. Parvati Rane, Treasurer of NIMA Women's Forum, Maharashtra State. Last but not the least, Dr. Pradnya Khose, Madam, for every kind of cooperation and coordination for conducting today's webinar session. So, and it gives me immense pleasure to have you all here as my audience. I would say that my audience is dynamic and wonderful audience that I am having here today. You have been working and trying to remove or trying to eradicate this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, since a long time, and you are devoting your service to the society. So medicine profession, I would state that medicine profession is one of the noblest profession in the world. And legal profession is also one of the noblest profession in the world as well. Because both these professions are touching to the society, are trying to lives of the people and trying to promote peace and harmony in the society. So whenever we think about the society, there are two elements, two important elements of the society, like men and women. All right. So whenever we think about the society, there are men and women, and this society is comprised of both of them. Then why there is gender injustice with them, gender discrimination with the female or with the women? So here we are conducting a special and separate webinar for creating awareness among the society related to the women's right. Have you ever thought about this? Why the need was felt to have separate webinars to create awareness about the women's rights in the society? Why we see all the news in the newspaper, even on the social media like televisions and on the news channels, we are getting the news related to the crimes which are usually committed against the female. 80% of the news have been covered with this news only, like so and so kind of crime has been committed against the female. There are various kinds of crimes. Yes, I would say there are various kinds of types of crimes in this society. But how then justice can be provided to that female? I'm not feminist. I'm not feminist, and even I'm not trying to promote feminism. But I just want to state here that female is also a human being. Female is also a human being, and we have to treat her as a human being. That's all. But why we have to think on this, and why we have to take all the due care that some rights have to be provided to her, some laws have to be enacted in the interest of female by our government. So I would say that whenever we think about law means what? Law means rules and regulations. Law means command of the sovereign. And these are certain body of principles which has got sanctioned by the nation. As a law-abiding citizens, we are bound by laws. We have to follow all those laws, rules, and regulations. If we do not follow it, then breach of law takes place and penalties will be imposed. Usually this happens around us in our country. We are Indian citizens, and that's why we have to take all the due care to follow all the rules and regulation and even the laws. And anyway, netizens also there is requirement nowadays. It has been a requirement to be vigilant netizens also. About netism and cyber laws and cyber crimes afterwards. But right now I want to state that as a vigilant citizen, why don't we think about female as a human being only? Today, this is the webinar session which is organized by NIMA, that is National Integrated Medical Association Women's Forum. And the thing whichever I have observed that every technical issue has been resolved by female only. They are trying to conduct this webinar session successfully. It means that female are also having all the potential. Female are also having the caliber to prove themselves. And yeah, they are proving themselves in each sector of the society. In each field, they are trying to prove themselves. Yes, they have the capability to lead. But I don't want to state here that females should be leaders and whatever female dominated society should be there. No, not at all. I'm not of that opinion. I just want to say that male and female are the integral part of the society. Both should be given equal consideration. Equal opportunities should be provided to both. And whenever we think about law has given many things, many enactments are there in our country in the interest of female. So actually, today is 26th January, and we have been celebrating it as our Republic Day. So what happened on this day? Everyone must be knowing, but I would like to share the history about today's date. We got our independence in the year 1947. And afterwards, how the governance of our country should be. For that, the need was felt, and this Constitution Framing Committee was established by some of the leaders of our country. There were 7 members. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was the chairperson of that committee. A.K. Krishnamachari and other Munshiji and other expertise were also there in this committee. They studied the constitutions of almost more than 60 countries and finally framed the Indian Constitution. What should be better for the benefits of the people whoever are residing here in our country, India? By thinking all those points and aspects, they have framed our Constitution. So whenever we think about our Constitution, it is a lengthiest book in the world. It is a lengthiest constitution in the world. But India is also a densely populated country. So forget about it, but I would like to state about the Constitution here that it was framed on 26th November 1949. It was ready with all the structure, and it was written also on 26th November 1949. And that's why this day is usually celebrated as Constitution Day. Then why we have been celebrating 26th January as our Republic Day? Because this Constitution came into effect from the date 26th January 1950, and onwards we have been celebrating this day as our Republic Day. So we are really fortunate to have this webinar on on females' rights and to create awareness about the females' rights. So today's topic is law relating to women's rights in India. So there are many acts and laws in the interest of female, as I already stated. So I would like to state about the constitutional provisions. There are certain constitutional provisions which are in the favor of female, which are trying to provide justice to the female. But before turning to that part, I would like to state about the preamble. So have you, if you get opportunity to read the Constitution, definitely you just keep the collection of this important book in your library, in your home library or office library, wherever you can. Because preamble is the initial page of our Constitution, which states that whatever fundamental principles are adopted, which are stating how to govern our country, what are those important rules and regulations with the help of which our country India can be governed and regulatory system can work properly. For that, in the preamble itself, you will get all the detailed content. Preamble can be called as heart of our Constitution. So I would just take some of the parts. What is there in the preamble? We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. To constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, and to secure to all its citizens, justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. Wow. So nicely all these words are woven, how all these words have been taken by all those expertise who were there in the framing of this Constitution. What is mentioned here? To secure all the individual of our country, India, to secure their justice. Justice related to what? Social, economic and political justice should be secured of each and every individual. Whenever we think about individual, who is there? Men and women, girl and boy. Everyone is considered there as an individual. And in our preamble itself, it is mentioned that justice related to social things or social justice has to be secured of each and every individual. So whenever we think about the crimes which are usually committed against the female, is there social justice? Is her social justice secured? Again, a question in our mind. The another thing which is mentioned in our Constitution, that liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. To secure this liberty. Another, equality of status and opportunity. So equality of status and opportunity has to be secured, has to be provided to each and every individual. And there are certain articles with which we will be familiar. I'll be discussing about that also afterwards. How this actually equality has been provided by law, by the Constitution to female and even each and every individual of our country. And fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual, the unity and integrity of the nation. Assuring the dignity of the individual. So these are, and this kind of Constitution is framed, enacted adopted and given to ourselves. So nicely all these words are written, which are stating about the equality which has been provided by the Constitution to male and female. Even though there are crimes conducted against the female. Why is it so? So there are certain reasons, because even I am educated and there are some of the audience who are females, and each and every female, they are being educated, they are earning, they are working, but still we are not secure up to that extent for which we are expecting for. And why that security is not there? Because there are some of the elements which are, we can say that, bringing hindrances in providing this security to the female. How it happens then? Whenever we'll take example of our family. In our family, if there is a son and daughter, since childhood we have been imbibing in them certain qualities that if there is daughter, she wants to go out at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, we usually tell her, no, don't go right now. This is not the proper time to go out. Your brother will go and bring whatever the things that you want. All right. If you have to go for a long drive or to your native place or to your village, that time also this bias, gender bias can be observed. The opportunity is not given to the daughter. No. Suppose this is the night time, then it's not safe for us to go and drive whenever daughter is ready to take you to your native place. These are some of the examples which I have shared with you. Even if we are educated, but these type of talk usually takes place in our family. And from then, since their childhood only, children are learning that no, whenever boy is doing something or boy is going out at any time, this is safe for him, but it is not safe for the girls. And even to respect each and every female, these qualities also have to be imbibed among the children in their childhood from the family itself. Because there is need to have change in the mindset of the people. There are various laws, and even we are being aware about all those provisions, and even we are thinking to have the changes and the reforms, but that kind of mindset the people are having is not observed. So whenever we think, yes, social reforms should be there, or changes should be there in the society, but who will take the initiative? That initiative should be from you, from me. Yeah, I have a son. Since his childhood, I am telling him, well, this work is not this work only, not female. Women. Everyone has to perform every kind of work. They have to do it. Male and female, this gender bias has been actually imbibed by the members of the family only, because male dominance has been deeply rooted in our society. I'm not saying that female dominance should be there, but I just want to again state here that equality should be there. Equal opportunities should be provided to both male and female. So now here I would like to state about the constitutional provisions related to the female. I'll just share PPT here in front of you so that you can get better idea about all those constitutional provisions. And one more thing which I want to state, that law plays an important role to have instrumental changes in the society, because as per the changing situation and scenario, the need is felt and certain amendments taken place. As I told you, when the constitution was framed, there were 395 articles, but today, if we see in the year 1950 or in the year 1949, when it was framed on 26 November, there were 395 articles, 12 schedules, 22 parts. But now, as per the requirement, there are more than 448 articles. It means that the need was felt by the government also as per the changing situations, and certain amendments also taken place in the interest of people of the society, and even in the interest of female also. Now, which are those constitutional rights? We'll just go through all those constitutional rights which have been provided by our constitution. I hope PPT is visible. PPT is visible to everyone? Please reply me.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. So, whenever we think about equality, education, gender, fairness, so women's empowerment, these terms are there in front of us. So she has to be actually given all those, she has to be provided all those opportunity which can give her self-satisfaction, self-independence, and she can also stand with pride in the society. So economic opportunities are also there, and how that equality can be achieved with the help of constitutional provisions. We'll just go through it. So how socio-economic development of women can be possible? Yes, it can be possible by changing the mindset of the people, and whatever laws have been enacted in the favor of female, strong implementation of all those, and even initiative by me and you all. What she is actually insisting for, what is today's need? Female are being educated, they are earning, they are working, they are going out of the houses. What was the situation in the ancient era or before independence, and even after some of the years after independence have been changed. Right now we can see that modern era, in that female are working, they are going out, and they are being financially sound also, but still there is need that she should be treated with dignity and respect. And how it can be possible? There are certain legal provisions, constitutional provisions, which are helpful to provide her these rights. As I stated about the constitution, that it was actually framed on 26th November 1949, but it came into effect from the 26th Jan 1950, and that day onwards we have been celebrating Republic Day. So what are those specific constitutional rights? I'm fortunate to state it here in front of you all on that Republic Day only. Now, I would like to state here that there are certain articles, like 395 articles were there, how then proper governance of our country can be possible. That was actually made possible with the help of all these articles. So there are certain fundamental rights which have been provided by the Constitution to each and every individual. What is the meaning of fundamental rights? Fundamental rights means मूलभूत अधिकार, मूलभूत हक, which are actually provided by our constitution to each and everyone. Whenever violation of these fundamental rights take place, you can enforce these rights with the help of law, okay, by filing suits in courts with the help of writs, which writs can be actually filed as per the Article 32 and Article 226 in the Supreme Court and High Court respectively. But now I'll just state about some of the fundamental rights as per the constitutional provisions. Article 14 specifically states about what? Right to equality. Right to equality and equal protection under the law. Each and every individual has to be considered equal before the law and has to be provided equal protection under the law or by law. And if doesn't happen this way, then violation of this right takes place, and that right can be enforced with the help of law in the courts. Another constitutional provision, that is Article 15, prohibition of discrimination on the basis of sex, religion, caste, place of birth, etc. So discrimination should not be there. It should be strictly prohibited on the basis of sex, like female child, male child, and whatever opportunities are provided to them. So that time, discrimination should be strictly avoided, strictly prohibited. That is given under Article 15. Now, Article 16 states about equality of the opportunity in the matters of public employment. So equality of the opportunity means if there is male candidate, there is female candidate. Equal opportunities has to be provided for their appointment in the public employment. Next article, that is right to life. This is the heart of all the fundamental rights we can see. As I told, medicine profession and legal profession are noblest professions in the world because they are attached or they are connected with the society and both are saving the life. So this Article 21 is responsible for that, that right to life is provided by this Article 21. No one shall be deprived of right to life and liberty as per the procedure established by law. These are the statements which are mentioned in the Constitution. No one shall be deprived of right to life. Everyone is having right to live a life with respect, with dignity. Everyone should get livelihood. Everyone should have actually right to live a life with basic necessities. And this part has been considered under the heading right to life. There are some of the landmark judgments with the help of which other rights like right to get livelihood, right to get fresh air, right to get fresh water, and even right to internet are also included here under this right to life. Because today this webinar session is going on by virtual way. How is it possible? Because we have computer, advanced technology, and even internet. Without internet, most of the things will not be possible nowadays because we are working here because of internet, online sessions, online webinar sessions, online classes, online meetings, and everything is going on online nowadays. And that's why the judiciary has declared in one of the case that right to internet is also included under right to life nowadays. Another Article 21 capital A, which is specifically to provide a right to education. We have been residing here in metropolitan cities and main cities like Pune, Thane, Mumbai, Nagpur, Dhule, whatever. But when we think about the rural areas or the remote areas, those children are still deprived of primary education also. So to promote that primary education, 6 to 14 years children should get free education, and this right to education was introduced as per the 86th amendment in our constitution. This is another one of the important article which is there in our constitution. The next constitutional provision, that is Article 23, prohibition of trafficking in human beings. Whenever we think about prohibition of trafficking in human beings and forced labor, again the issue of female is there. Female are being kidnapped and are sold for certain illegal kind of activities. Then the use of these females are being done. And so prohibition of trafficking in human beings. This article is also important. As per this, if violation of that fundamental right takes place, then it can be enforced with the help of law. It can also be called as right against exploitation. So this is one of the important article along with Article 21. All these fundamental rights are important and all these constitutional provisions in the favor of female are important. I won't say that this is most important and Article 21 is only most important, but there are some of the articles or some of the rights which have been provided by the Constitution are important one. Whatever right now I explain about the fundamental rights, beyond that now we have certain directive principles which are mentioned in our constitutions. Like certain directions are given to the states to promote justice, to promote a secured life, and even to promote security. so that people will have sound conditions for their living. So there are these certain articles from 39 onwards, which are directive principles, which are mentioned in our constitution under the chapter 4. So article 39 is the next article in which certain principles of policy to be followed by the state. What are those directions given? As per the article 39 in bracket A, citizens, men and women, equally have the right to an adequate means to livelihood. So men and women are equally considered here. Article 39 in bracket D provides you another fundamental right. Oh, sorry, this is not fundamental right. This is directive principle actually. 39 in bracket D actually gives direction to the state to provide equal pay for equal work for both men and women. So gender discrimination should not be there while providing the opportunity in the public employment, and equal pay for equal work should be there. These directions are given to the states as per the article 39. Another article, that is 42, provisions for just and human conditions of work. Provisions for just and human conditions of work and maternity relief has to be secured by the state, and for that relevant provisions has to be enacted, provisions has to be made by the state. It is the responsibility of the state, because these are directive principles in which directions have been given to the states to provide all those facilities and to secure the life of the people. So just and human conditions at the workplace means what? Whenever that any female is being employed in any employment, she should get sound atmosphere of working at that place. At least basic necessity which are required to that female employee has to be provided, and all those relevant provisions should be made by the state in the interest of female. Maternity benefit. So maternity benefit, you all are physicians, so you must be knowing about this. Some of the acts, like Maternity Benefit Act was enacted in the year 1961, and it is definitely in the interest of female only. The leave, maternity leave, which was granted previous, was of actually 12 weeks only, but after the year 2016 amendment taken place, and those days have been increased to 26 weeks to get the maternity leave. Then how this legislation was enacted? On what basis? Then state has to what? Secure the interest of the female as per the article 42, provisions for just and human conditions of work and maternity relief. On the basis of this, then Maternity Benefit Act 1960. Yes. Another article, that is 44, Uniform Civil Code, to have uniformity in each and every field, in each and every sector, but it's not possible due to certain reason to have uniformity in each and everything. But the directions have been given to the state to secure the interest of the people by providing civil code. Right? Provision for free and compulsory education for children. So relevant provisions has to be made by the state for free and compulsory educations for the children. In that, definitely inclusion of girls is also there. So these are certain directive principles which are included in our constitution, and whatever fundamental rights I have mentioned before this are also responsible to provide certain constitutional provisions in the interest of female. When the constitution was framed, that time only fundamental this rights and directive principles were included in that. But afterwards, whenever we are enforcing our rights, we are claiming and demanding our rights, we have to perform our duties also. Inclusion of this article 51 capital A was done by the amendment, and certain duties were also introduced in our constitution. As per that, in the favor in bracket small e is there, that female should get a respect. and everyone, to renounce the practices derogatory to the dignity of the women. So dignity of the women shall be protected, and it is our duty. As I told you, we have to take initiative from you, from me, that can be done, and we have to renounce those practices which are responsible to lower the dignity of the women, or all whatever irrespective activities are committed against the women or female. So the part whichever right now I have discussed coming under the heading constitutional provisions. Now there are certain other legal provisions also which are in the interest of female. So this is one of the major amendment I would like to state here, which has taken place in the year 2005 related to Hindu Succession Act. You know, there are various personal laws, and those personal laws are trying to protect the rights of each and every group of people, each and every community and religious people. So personal laws are enacted, and in that Hindu Succession Act is there, which is specifically applicable to Hindus only, whoever considered Hindu as per the law, as per this act. And in that, actually, before 2005, the daughter was not given the rights to have consideration in the ancestral property as a co-parcener. But that equal right to be a co-parcener has been provided by the amendment of 2005 in Hindu Succession Act, and the property will equally get devolved to daughter and son. But this is about only ancestral property. So in this act, it is mentioned that whenever by birth that daughter can become a co-parcener, she is going to actually claim for her rights as per this provision, but she is equally responsible and liable for all those whatever liabilities are arisen related to that specific ancestral property, maintenance part and all that is also covered here. So this is another legal provision which is in the interest of female for providing equal right as that of a son in ancestral property as per the 2005 amendment in the Hindu Succession Act. Now we'll move forward with some other legal provisions. So as I told you, we have discussed about the constitutional provisions, and even one of the most important provision in the Hindu Succession Act, which has taken place related to the for being a co-parcener in the ancestral property. Beyond that, now we'll move towards the today's era. What are the situations going on in the society, like bully by app. This news was viral before some of the days in the newspaper, and even Suli Dills. These are some of the apps which were actually formed by some of the illegal activists. And because of that, the reputation of female has been lowered. And we can consider this kind of illegal activities as cybercrime under the heading cybercrime. So what is the meaning of cybercrime? Whatever illegal activities or unlawful activities are committed by any of the person through internet or through computer, that can be considered as cybercrime. So nowadays, I told you, as I stated here, that right to life, in that there is inclusion of right to internet also, because internet has been the need of today's situations or today's era. And without it, now the working is not possible, and many more things, many more activities are not possible. But up to what extent the advantage of this advanced technology has to be taken, that is again on us. Because the youth is being addict of all this advanced technology in such a manner that they are misusing, some of the people are misusing this advanced technology, like online, whatever, there are different apps, like Facebook is there, Instagram is there, and Twitter is there, even this WhatsApp is there. Through this, how then illegal activities can be committed. So I'll be discussing about it, no doubt, afterwards. But I want to tell you, audience, that Actually, whenever we are thinking about being vigilant as a citizen, now we have to be vigilant as a netizen also, because netizen has been the need of today's scenario, today's era. So we have to be vigilant for that kind of activities, because some of the anonymous person or unknown persons are hidden somewhere or sitting somewhere, and they are just trying to tamper the data of the computer, or trying to defame you by posting certain messages and certain comments, by making obscene videos, and by circulating certain photos which are obscene and which are not good, which can lower your reputation. So such kind of activities have been actually are committed in the society, and usually illegal activists or offenders, we can say in the legal language, those offenders, they have been committing such activities. So please be aware about all these things. Now I'll just discuss some of the points related to this cybercrime part. Information Technology Act acts as one for preventing all these kinds of cyber crimes. Which are those specific legal provisions as per this act? Government has taken initiative and following certain steps to prevent the online harassment and whatever abusive activities are being conducted against the women in the society. So Information Technology Act 2000 is playing important role to prevent all this cyber crimes. There are certain provisions. I would state that there is 11th chapter, which is the most important chapter in this act, which is stating about all those penalties and even the activities can be considered as illegal activities by law. So there are some of the sections like section 66. From 66A to E are also important to actually state all those penalties and illegal activities. And even section 67, 67A and B are also important of this Information Technology Act, which are specifically used to penalize the offender, so that in the society security can be provided to the female specifically. So what are those different types of crimes which we have, which we usually hear about, like stalking, cyberbullying, harassing through email, or cyber pornography, phishing, morphing. So these are various types which are there, which are considered here by law as cyber crimes. So these are different types which are mentioned as cyber crimes, like harassment through email. Now, how harassment through email can take place? So you all are educated, so you might be having your email IDs, but through email, obscene, whatever vulgar messages or some of the frivolous content or malicious content can be offenders, and through that mental harassment can be conducted. Now, cyber stalking is the next part. In cyber stalking, what happens, as I told you, the person who is anonymous one and trying to be friendly with you, because nowadays youth, they are having many friends, they are not knowing all the details about that person, still they are being friends with each other, and they are continuing the chatting and all. I'll just state one example here. There was a girl and one boy. They have been friends on online friends, and they were chatting with each other, and then they were friendly with each other in such a manner that that boy sent her marriage proposal, but that was turned down by that girl. And afterwards, that person, they were not knowing all the details about each other, but that person started to send her all the obscene videos, and even started to send her all the vulgar messages. Then that girl complained to the station, and the action was taken as per the Information Technology Act. And as per the section 66, 67, he was penalized. And even IPC, Indian Penal Code, is also helpful there to penalize the offender. As per the section 509, the action was taken against that offender. So here what happened, actually we don't know all the details about the person, but your photos, whatever there are photos on the status of your WhatsApp groups, or in your DP on WhatsApp groups, and whatever photos you are sharing on the status can be misused by some anonymous persons also. And that person is keeping all the details, which posts are posted by this girl, or which actually photos are shared by these girls, how many likes she is getting, how many dislikes she is getting, and all the details about the online information is kept by such anonymous persons, and that can be considered under cyber stalking here. Cyber pornography is that only that obscene videos are made by these offenders, and they are making these videos viral or sending it to that specific victim only. Cyber grooming under that also same type of offenses only can be considered here. Cyberbullying, in that what happened, hurtful texts or messages are sent by the offender, and here on social media this person is trying to defame you, or that person is making fake profile of himself or herself, and then sending you friend request and trying to yes, transform some of the photos, and transforming your photographs on someone else's photograph. These kind of illegal activities are also conducted, that is considered under the morphing part. Phishing is also another one of the type of cyber crime which is usually committed, because here what happened in phishing, some of the person pretending you that they are from the reputed sources, but which they are not actually, and they are pretending you that they are from the reputed sources, authorized sources, and then trying to get all the details about your like account number, or your credit card number, debit card numbers, whatever the dealings usually you do whenever you conduct financial transactions or economic transactions. So that kind of information is also then taken by them from you. And what you do, you thought that yeah, they are pretending you from the authenticated sources or reputable sources, so you just click on those links which are sent by them through email or through any messages, and you then get caught actually whatever the intention of those persons, get all the details of you, and this can be considered under the phishing part. So what are the remedies? As I IT Act, there are certain remedies given as per the section 11. So I'll just state some of those remedies here as per the IT Act. Section 65 is there for tampering with computer source documents. So whenever tampering is done, means some of the kind of knowingly and intentional work to destroy your information or computer sources or the code, whatever you are using for that. So tampering with computer source documents, in that there is punishment of 3 years and fine, which is up to 3 years punishment can be of the imprisonment, and fine can be there up to 2 lakh rupees, or with both that person can be penalized. Now, as for the section 66 computer related offenses, where, as I told you, different obscene whatever information in an electronic form is published by the offender, in that case section 66 will be helpful, in which the imprisonment is actually given up to 3 years, and even fine up to 5 lakh rupees is mentioned in that, or with both that person can be penalized. So this kind of activities are actually with dishonest manner or with dishonest intention or fraudulent intentions have been committed by the offenders, and that point is important here. Another section 66A, which is for punishment for sending offensive messages through communication service. So here what happens, sexually explicit messages or through communication, vulgar language or lewd messages are sent by the offender. So as per the section 66 and section 67, 66A, 66C and 66D are also important there, in which there is imprisonment which may extend up to the 3 years, and even fine up to 1 lakh rupees is mentioned under these specific sections. So whenever we think about that, privacy is also get disturbed. So if the images are transformed or the photos of one person are transformed to the photos of another girl who has worn actually short clothes or short dresses, for that section 66E will be helpful in that punishment for violation of privacy. So whoever intentionally performs this kind of act and transmits the image of a private area of any person without his or her consent can be punished for violation of the privacy. As per this, the imprisonment can be up to 3 years and even fine which can be up to 2 lakh rupees or with both also. Another section 67, as I mentioned, that punishment for publishing or transmitting obscene material in electronic form. So whenever we think about cyber trolling, in that case, this specific section 67 will be useful, in which the punishment is given like imprisonment up to 5 years and fine up to 10 lakh rupees. Whenever second time this crime is committed by the offender, but when first time this crime is committed by the offender, that time the punishment of imprisonment will be up to 2 years and fine will be up to 5 lakh rupees. So these are some of the sections and even legal provisions which are mentioned under the Information Technology Act, which will be helpful to state that yes, there are certain rights to prevent crimes which are usually committed against the female or women. Now this is another legislation, or this is another enactment in the favor of female, that is POSH Act. Have you ever heard about this act? Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act 2013. I know you all are muted, that's why you can't reply me, but I think most of the people must be knowing about it, but some are not. So I would like to state about this act because this is one of the important provision in the favor of a female, which was done in the year 2013. So here the main focus is given to for the prevention, protection and redressal whenever any sexual harassment takes place with the female employee. So which is actually that whenever we think about sexual harassment, which activity can be considered under this heading sexual harassment? Because whenever these illegal activities are committed by the offenders or the persons, it has to be fit under those definitions whatever given in this specific act. So sexual harassment term is explained in the act like it includes what? Physical contact and advances, or a demand or request for sexual favors, or making sexually colored remarks, or showing pornography, or any other unwelcome physical, verbal, or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. So this is the actually term sexual harassment which has been defined, which has been explained under the act. Now we'll think about what is physical contact and advances. You know, physical touch by any of the person to that female employee can also be considered, but with wrong intention, if that touch is, then definitely that can be considered under this sexual harassment term. A demand or request for sexual favors or making sexually colored remarks. So sexually colored remarks under this heading, I would like to state that if, suppose we'll take one of the example, when I was working on the panel of that internal complaint committee of Bank of Baroda financials, in that with some of the cases I dealt, while dealing, we came to know that some of the sexually colored remarks, how these remarks are actually made by the male employee, like you're looking very hot, or can we have tea after the completion of our duty, and while having tea, sitting close to her, or the AC is very chill, why don't you come close to me? So these kind of remarks which are actually made by the male employee for the female employee can be unwelcomed also, because each and every time that female will not be comfortable whenever such remarks are made by the male employee. So male employees, they have to be careful passing any comment to for the female employees in the employment where actually engaged with. So this is one of the act in which actually the right provided to the female that any kind of such illegal activities or any kind of such sexual advances or unwelcomed behavior is committed by the male employee, she can complain it to the internal complaint committee. This internal complaint committee has to be constituted by each and every employer as per this act, and it is made mandatory to each and every employer to form this internal complaint committee in the organizations wherever more than 10 employees are there. If breach of this takes place, if the ICC, that is internal complaint committee, is not constituted by the employer, then there is a penalty also which is imposed on that employer, that is rupees 50,000. So whenever we think about the term sexual harassment, which activities can be considered under it, now we want to know about the place of that workplace also, wherever there is a requirement to have formation or constitution of this internal complaint committee. So any department, organization or establishment, or any government offices, even private sectors, private offices also can be considered here under the heading workplace. Hospital or nursing homes, specifically I have highlighted that point here, that hospitals or nursing homes, in that also there is a requirement to frame internal complaint committee, so that whenever any kind of sexual harassment is taken place with any of the female employee in that organization or in that hospital or nursing home, so that she can complain it to the head of that whatever hospital or the nursing homes or the organization specifically. So which workplaces have been considered here as per this Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act 2013 that are mentioned here, and all those places are considered, and the mandatory criteria has been imposed on the employer of those workplaces to constitute internal complaint committee. Now, which lady can make complaint to this ICC, and who are there in this ICC, that is internal complaint committee? So that aggrieved woman who has been the victim of sexual harassment as per this act. As per this act, that lady can be any lady who is employed on the basis of, on temporary basis, on permanent basis, or on apprenticeship, or any lady, whoever is working as a sweeper there, that lady is also considered here. All right. So that aggrieved woman can file a complaint to the ICC committee if it is constituted in that organization. But if that ICC or internal complaint committee is not there in that organization, then local complaint committee is also there at the district level. There, those aggrieved female can go and can complain about the sexual harassment which is being committed with that lady. So actually what happened here, female are hesitating to file a complaint against related to this part. They are afraid of that there will be some stigma on me, on my status. But without by leaving this resistance, or they have to come out and they have to file complaints if such kind of harassment is usually committed with that lady. But when then this lady can complain? So whenever this incidence of sexual harassment has taken place with her, so within the month of 3 months, that lady has to complain to the ICC, and whenever the last harassment has taken place with that lady, then from that incidence, within 3 months, she has to file a complaint to the ICC. Once the complaint is filed by that aggrieved woman or that lady, then who are there in the ICC committee? There is one president or chairperson in that committee who is the senior female employee of that organization. There are two other members members are also there from the organizations, and one member from the outside, from the outside, whoever is having actually a work experience in this specific field, or whoever is specifically dealing with these kinds of matter. That person can be advocate, that person can be social activist, and the committee, which is comprised of these members, are then dealing with this complaint. So while dealing with this complaint, how the working of this committee is going on? So this committee is having all the powers of the civil court. They can send summons to the opponent or the respondent. Here the complainant can be called as plaintiff, and the respondent, whoever is filing against whom the complaint has been filed, that person can be called as respondent. So sending summons to the respondent, and even the witnesses which that lady can bring or that aggrieved woman can bring, summonses can be sent to them, and inquiries can be conducted as per the requirement. And all these whatever inquiries by face to face are being conducted are recorded also. That is also compulsory, so that all the evidences will be there with the committee to finally conclude whether the harassment which has taken place as per the complaint of the aggrieved lady fits under the term sexual harassment or not. Then after conducting all the inquiries, finally the committee concludes about the case, whether that kind of harassment has taken place or not. So this is another one of the important legislations which I can say here in the interest of female, through which, if those female are thinking that yes, such kind of activities are conducted with me anytime, or will be conducted with you anytime, and even if you are afraid of losing your jobs, then you, with the help of this ICC committee, you can resolve your dispute, and the name of that aggrieved female is also kept confidential. It is not disclosed, and the report of committee is then finally conveyed to the employer, and employer has to take actions against this activity, unlawful activity, as per the law which is committed with that female. So there are certain other provisions also which I would like to discuss with you. Here is one of the pick related to that part only, how then harassment by being friendly with that female employee, or if she is then refusing to being much friendly, then overburdening her with the work, and then that lady is also afraid of losing the job and opportunities or the seniority which she is getting. So these things are usually happening in the organizations, in the company, corporate, and that's why the felt and it is playing vital unlawful activities in the society. So there are certain IPC provisions also, like matrimonial crimes are committed against the female, these sexual crimes are committed against the female, then offenses related to dowry. So matrimonial crimes under that heading you can consider here, like bigamy is committed usually by the husbands. And then what about that aggrieved lady? So there is a section 494, as per that, then the person who is committed bigamy, it means second marriage, then it is not allowed by law, then penalty is there. Sexual crimes under that heading, rape, you can consider like sections 375 and 376 of IPC are important there, which actually explains you all the details about this kind of heinous crime. Offenses related to dowry, under that heading there is a Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, which is enacted in the interest of female, because dowry is an evil activity, I can say here, because and this is rooted in our society in such a way that whenever usually any gift in the form of car or any form, in the form of any valuable security is given or taken by the people, we don't think it is not good or it is not proper. And what happened, whenever these rich people are behaving this way, then middle class people and on the poor class people, the impact of these ceremonies and this whatever activities can be seen. And then dowry deaths are taking place because there is lust and demand for getting some any kind of property, like valuable security it can be, or cash it can be, or any kind of property it can be, and which is then claimed or demanded by the husband and even her relatives. And then violence is committed. Domestic violence is again another legislation which I will explain you afterwards. So section 304B of IPC is important here, and even 498A is important here whenever we think about the dowry part, because dowry death for that section 304B is important, because the death which has taken place in that is specifically which kind of harassment or yes.
मॅम आवाज गेलाय मॅम, सुषमा मॅम.
Am I audible?
Yes, right now.
Okay, so whenever we think about section 304B, there are penalties which are given, and even 498A, that cruelty point is considered by IPC Indian Penal Code, and that cruelty point has to be proved actually. And in that we have to think about mental cruelty and the intention of the person who has committed such kind of mental cruelty of that lady having immense importance, and that has to be proved. Then as per these both the sections like 304B and section 498A, that offender can be penalized. But here what happened, as per the section 304B, actually the death of that lady has taken place, because this provision is important for dowry death. Whenever the marriage is solemnized and within 7 years or after the solemnization of the marriage, if the death of that female takes place, then it is considered as a strong point under the dowry death heading. And then which kind of cruelty was committed with that lady, that can be considered under the section 498A of the IPC section. So again, another legislation is there in the favor of female and in the interest of female, we can say. But Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, but still these kinds of activities are going on in the community whenever solemnization of the marriages takes place. So these are some of the points related to dowry death and 498A, which I wanted to highlight here, that penalty which is given or punishment which can be imposed by Indian Penal Code for dowry death, that is imprisonment up to 7 years, but which may not less than 7 years, but which may extend to imprisonment for life also if it is proved. And section 498A, cruelty is if it is proved that has been committed with that lady, then 3 years imprisonment, and also there will be some fine also. As I told you that there are certain legislation or the acts in the interest of females. So Domestic Violence Act 2005 is also playing immense important role to provide security and to promote justice, social justice in the interest of female. So the female is actually protected as per this legislation also. Whenever any kind of domestic violence takes place with that lady, the lady, whoever is residing there in the house with her family members, with her husband, is specifically targeted here, is specifically considered under the heading domestic violence. And when she is being harassed or she is being the victim of violence, then in that case, what happened? that lady can get relief by going to the police station, or she can complain there. But there are certain actually protection officers or service providers are there who can provide help here before going to the other whatever regular procedures which are usually followed by after filing the complaint. So counseling can also be done between the husband and wife, so that what happen if they are the violence is being committed by the husband against the wife related to the dowry part or by her family members, then whether by the way of counseling is that dispute can be settled, then all those means, all those possible ways can be also tried by as per this act, because this act is usually having the combination of civil remedies and even criminal remedies which are followed here. So under that heading, protection officer is also there, who is trying to provide protection by every means, like if there is a custody of the children's problem or custody of the children, to whom that custody can be the proper decision. So and again, even if she needs some monetary relief or compensation, if the complaint has been filed by that lady or that aggrieved female, then which kind of relief can be provided. So all those means will be tried by the protection officer, and even service providers, some of the non-governmental organizations has also given opportunity here to provide the service on their on voluntary basis. So with the help of Domestic Violence Act also, the domestic violence prominently I would say here, that which is usually committed with the female, can be prevented, and relevant orders in the interest of that female can be passed here. Now we are actually, wherever we are residing, those families might not be having the actually experience of domestic violence, but you can suggest to your female maid servant who is working at your home or in your hospitals or nursing homes, wherever any sweeper is there, or though such kind of awareness can be created through you, by you in the society, among the society, so that crimes which are usually committed against the female can be prevented and prohibited. So I don't know whether my voice is louder or what, but when in the flow of explaining, my voice gets louder, I think.
No, it's okay.
So one more thing I want to state here, like some of the female physicians might be facing problems of allegations by the patient while treating. Whenever there is the patient of opposite gender in front of you, that time what need can be taken. So in our country, India, I think as per the section 13 of the Contract Act, consent can be taken by the from the patient before treating that patient. Or the chaperone policy is the policy which is usually used abroad in UK, in USA. This policy is actually used by those medical councils, and even by the whatever government of that country, we can say. Before treating the patient, this policy can be used. What happened in this, the chaperone is one of the persons who can be actually appointed there before the checking of any of the patient. Whenever there is intimate examination or sensitive type of examinations, before committing that kind of examinations, such person can be appointed with the help of this policy, who will remain present at the time of examination, and all the records will be made by the physicians related to that examinations, who was present, and what type of examination was conducted, and what then relief was actually, or prescription was provided, and so on and so forth, the regular routine whatever you are actually following in your checkups. So chaperone policy is one of the policy which is in the interest of physicians, I would say here. So that policy can be used by you. I think in India it's not there, hai na? Yes or no? Yes, Pradna madam? No, it's not there, but it is there in UK and USA. So this policy can be adopted or can be accepted by our legislation and even Indian Medical Council, so that the allegations which are usually made by the opposite gender patients on the physicians, on the doctors, can be prevented. So if the patient is not ready to accept this policy, then that type of record also can be made by the physicians, so that you will be safer, you will be safe on your side. Last point which I have to explain, whenever you're thinking about the social justice or gender justice, which has to be actually provided by government, by law, and even by the society. So in that case, there are various provisions. You have been familiar with all those provisions and enactments which are actually enacted in the favor of female and interest. Strong implementation of that is definitely necessary. But one organization or commission, we can say, that is National Commission for Women, that is working for this. This is a statutory body which is actually established as per the National Commission for Women Act 1990, and the composition or this commission was formed on 31st January 1992. This commission is usually dealing with the complaints which are filed by the female, and they are trying to provide each and every kind of justice to those female by taking those issues to the government and even to the judiciaries. And with the help of National Commission for Women also, remedy can be provided to the aggrieved lady or the female who is not actually trying to disclose her name and having the fear of getting stigma on their status or reputation, and other various ways whichever I explained with the help of different acts and enactments. Through that, aggrieved female can come ahead and at least she can raise her voice to get social justice, economic justice, political justice, and the sound working conditions, and even these the life which she lives with respect and dignity can be provided to her. So what is she really expecting for? She's expecting only for the dignity, respect, and equality, which is actually in the books and even provided by constitution and by various legislations. But finally, I would conclude that mindset of our society and the people has to be changed, so that definitely she'll be treated with dignity, respect, and respect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sushma ma'am. You covered almost all topics, all articles related to women's constitutional provisional covered. Information Technology Act 2000.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Actually, I tried at my level best to explain most of the important provisions.
Yes, POSH Act, Domestic Violence Act. Actually, we don't know कि कितने दिन में कंप्लेन करना चाहिए, तो 3 months जरूरी है, 3 months के अंदर. तो ये सब टॉपिक्स कवर कर दिए हैं. चैट बॉक्स में तो कुछ क्वेरीज नहीं आए हैं, तो अगर किसी को पूछना है तो हैंड रेज कर सकते हैं प्लीज. I think all topic is covered. That was no any query. We will wait for 1-2 minutes. ठीक है, कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं आ रहा है. अगर कोई क्वेश्चंस आ जाते हैं ग्रुप पर तो हम मैम से व्हाट्सएप पे बात कर सकते हैं. तो अभी लास्ट सेशन में ऑलमोस्ट टाइम भी खत्म हो रहा है. मैं लास्ट सेशन में हम एंटर कर रहे हैं. माई सेल्फ डॉक्टर प्रज्ञा खोसे, प्रेसिडेंट नीमा वुमेन्स फोरम पिंपरी चिंचवड. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल विश यू वेरी हैप्पी 73rd रिपब्लिक डे. I am here to say thank you all respected delegates which are present in large number to attend this webinar. On behalf of Women's Forum, NIMA Women's Forum, Maharashtra. I am also thankful to all respected dignitaries. NIMA Central President Dr. Vinayak Tempunikar sir, NIMA Central Treasurer Dr. Ashutosh Kulkarni sir, NIMA Women's Forum Central President Dr. Sadhna Kulkarni ma'am, NIMA Women's Forum Central Secretary Dr. Masodkar ma'am, NIMA State President Dr. Suhas Jadhav sir, Dr. Secretary Dr. Anil Bazare sir, and Treasurer Dr. Bhushan Wani sir. Also, I wanted to thank Dr. Rajesh Dahapute sir, Vishnu Bhavne sir, Daga sir, and Khatawkar sir. Women's Forum NIMA State President Dr. Sapna Jagdale Madam, Secretary Dr. Rajashree Shirpurkar Ma'am, Treasurer Parvati Rane Ma'am, and State Coordinator Dr. Jyoti Mate Ma'am. I am also very much thankful to our special guest, Dr. Advocate Sushma Satpute Ma'am. She delivered wonderful lecture and make us aware about our legal rights. Actually, sign of social freedom is is women's freedom, and because of today's knowledgeable feast, we move one step forward towards awareness of legal rights of a woman in society. Thank you, Dr. Sushma ma'am, for this help. I am also thankful to my technical team and my co-host, Dr. Sangeeta Gindodia ma'am. I request technical team to play our national anthem, Jana Gana Mana. याचबरोबर आपण आपला कार्यक्रमाचा संपला असं मी जाहीर करते. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.